So I wanted to do this presentation today uh, because it keeps showing up in my practice. And I say this to my clients a lot. And I was like, I'm going to talk about this today in our meeting. Oftentimes, I have two different type of clients that come in, especially with MS. One of them, they come in, first few months that they're working with me, and they have a lot of fear. They have a lot of fear that they're not doing enough. They're hard on themselves. I can't stick to the diet, and I know it's good for me. Why am I not being able to stick to the diet? And I should be exercising more, and but it just hurts too much. But I should be exercising at least 6 times a week. And there's all this guilt and shame and fear that they're not doing enough, right? And that they're not doing right. And on the contrary, I have other clients that they are disciplined and they're like, I'm getting all the food and I'm eating and I'm doing my exercises 6 times a week. Even if I'm, tired, I'm still doing it. And they're mad because they keep telling me, Eva, why is it that I'm doing everything right and I'm still not getting well? What am I doing wrong, right? And so I always tell them this story, and I've mentioned it to you guys before, which is there was some studies in the beginning of the 1900s, 1915, I think also 1950, which talked about there was this thing that happened in orphanages that's very known, especially for kids that are less than 2 years old, in that even if the orphans were given the correct food, were given enough sleep, were made to exercise daily, they did not grow. And oftentimes they would die to the point, it was like 90 percentile. And so here also, like my clients, it wasn't that these were terrible orphanages and, they weren't feeding them at all. It's like they were doing all the right things, yet the children were not thriving. And so what they discovered is what was missing in orphanages is that attachment, that nurturing attachment. Babies need to be held. They need to be loved. They need to feel safe. This is not only humans, it's like all mammals. It's like they need to have that nourishment. In essence, what we require to grow, to be healthy, is to be cared for, to be nourished. We need to have a nurturing attachment and learn from a mother, learn from a caregiver, nurturing, because that's what's necessary for growth. And it's been shown to be necessary for health, both physical health and mental health. It also creates resilience to stress. It creates confidence. And so I wanted to give you guys a story, a personal story. When I was little, my mother was a professional, and she was a hospital librarian, and she always taught my sister and me that you've got to be tough in this world of men. And I remember she would never let me stay in bed, right, on the weekends. She would be like, you can't stay in bed unless you have a fever, right? Because in my family, and probably a lot of you guys, it's like our moms are not that nurturing. They have their moments, but they also have a lot of, not as emotionally available as maybe we need. And I always remember that. She was always like, you have to be doing something. You have to be doing something all the time. But as my mom got older, and I was probably in my mid-30s, I was working very hard. I was traveling a lot for work. I would come to her house and I would be exhausted. And I think she really grew through age, you know, and she saw how much we worked and how much I pushed myself. And she changed completely. And I have this memory of going to her house, being tired. It was the weekend. And she actually said, you know, no, sit on the lounge chair, you know, on the porch. And she made me a glass of, you know, she poured me a glass of wine and some cheese and crackers. And she was like, no, there's nothing you need to do. Just sit down and relax. You've had a hard week. And it was blissful. And it was so contrast to who she was and how she was with us, you know, as kids. And nowadays, I do the same for myself. This is me. Nowadays, I check in, right? I have adapted that internal older mother, you know, and I check in. How am I doing? You know, is everything okay? Am I happy? You know, and I bring that nurturance inside of myself, because life is hard enough as it is. And that's really what my mom realized, you know, as she got older, that it's hard enough out there. You know, we don't have to add to it by being hard on ourselves. You know, we need that nurturance. It doesn't matter if we're 2 years old or if we're 50. We need that internal, I gotcha, you know. Anyone here read the books of Louise Hayes or looked at, you know, a lot of people when they first diagnosed, they're given the book of Louise Hayes, you know, how to heal your body kind of thing. Well, Louise Hayes, she says that symptoms are only the outer effect, right? We must go within to dissolve the mental cause, and that we've got to let go of trying to use, I love how I wrote discipline, trying to use discipline to heal, because that is not going to work. That I'm going to just get it all done and I'm going to do my 6 days a week and I'm going to do these things. She always says, no, you need to look at the mental cause of your multiple sclerosis or whatever other symptom or disease. And in the case of multiple sclerosis, the cause is mental hardness and hard-heartedness. If you look it up in her book. And so from the story I told you, I want to invite you to think about, am I treating myself like a child in an orphanage, just focused on doing all the right things? Or am I treating myself like my mother when she was older and wiser? Because it's hard enough out there. Don't do it on yourself, right? So to heal, really give that inner child, you know, that self-care. It's actually more important than all that other regime that we do. And that's what I had to share.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
It's the little things, which is a big thing.
Yes.
You know.
It's the attitude.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, this is very particular to MS, that really hard discipline, you know, like myself, growing up, you know, learning to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it fits in with the idea too of acceptance, because if you can accept that you have limitations, it really helps, you know, instead of fighting against it. So, yeah, I saw how all those pieces kind of fit together.
Yeah, when you're fighting this, you know, the little kid inside, right? You're telling them, no. You have to be able to walk.
I know, right?
You know? It's like, yeah.
I know. Well, and it's also sometimes just pure desire to want to participate, but just being able to let go of that, you know, and to say, okay, not today. I got to rest or whatever.
Mhm.
Take a break.